I first saw her at an adoption center in Cleveland during October of 2018. She was 2 months old and very shy, sharing a cage with an orange cat that was bigger and flashier than her. I had this thought that she would love to open up if she felt that she was in a safe environment, and I wanted to protect her and see her grow. So I adopted her, and she was the cutest thing ever. She was really well behaved, and her personality started to develop as a very polite, curious, loving, and snuggly kitten. I named her Kosen-Rufu, or just Kosen for short, after the Buddhist term for world peace through individual empowerment. I know that's intense, but looking back on it now, it's been a fitting name for her and the lessons that she's taught me. A few months later, Kosen started limping. My roommate Megan took me to the vet, and we found out that Kosen had been born with 2 luxating patellas, which was a relatively rare condition for cats. It meant that both her back knees were sideways, and without surgery, she would develop arthritis within 3 years. During all of this, I was in my 3rd year of college studying electrical engineering and the most stressed out I had ever been. I was hell-bent on making everything in my life work, and so I stubbornly refused to give Kosen back to the shelter. I felt I'd made this promise to her that I'd take care of her forever, and so I figured I'd just pick up extra shifts at work and somehow find a way to pay for all the vet visits and the surgery. The earliest she could have surgery was in May of 2019. My roommate Megan and I were both artists, and Megan came up with the idea of hosting an art gallery benefit in our apartment to raise money. We decided to call the benefit Club Cosmic. Leading up to it, we collected art to sell, created a dress code for people attending, put together fun astrology natal chart readings, set up a projector photo booth, baked vegan cookies, and made custom buttons for people who donated that said, "I helped Kosen get new knees." Megan and I were both amazed at how our small apartment transformed into Club Cosmic with about 40 people in attendance. Someone even brought pizza. That night, I felt very connected to the universe. At one point, I got to give a small speech thanking everyone. I explained Kosen's name as world peace through individual empowerment, and how seeing everyone dance and have fun in an art gallery benefit made me understand the concept of Kosen-Rufu more. Especially during final season, I was touched thinking about my friends who made sure to get their assignments out of the way so they could come support me. After all, Kosen-Rufu is all about your small individual efforts towards a larger purpose. A kind of world peace built on the spread of individuals, practicing their own compassion, wisdom, and courage in small and big ways. So from that abstract concept came Club Cosmic, a time where we all put aside studying and danced the night away so that a small cat could have a happy, healthy life with new knees. By the end of the night, we had somehow raised almost $2,000. A few days later, Kosen had her surgery. I had no idea how crazy the post-surgery care would be. She came home with her back legs shaved, still bleeding, and disoriented with a cone around her head. She couldn't stand up, and for a while, she was too stressed to eat. I had to force feed her and give her pain meds twice a day. Multiple times during finals week, I was up at 4 a.m. cleaning because she had peed all over the blankets. I remember sitting with her for many hours while I was studying, wishing with all my heart that I could communicate to her that everything was going to be okay. I wish I could have made her understand that she was just going through temporary pain, but it would bring her to a healthier and happier state of life. That was another thing that Kosen taught me. Only a few months later, I hit a low point where I'd burnt myself out from working too hard and overriding my basic needs for too long. This is a story for a different time, but while things felt like they were crashing down around me, I remembered how I felt while Kosen was recovering. And from that, I knew that even though I felt very hopeless and disoriented, just like I'm sure she felt, I was only going through temporary pain that would bring me to a happier place. And it did. Now I look back on that whole process as a deep cleanse of bad things in my life, a painful process that made space for a new and better sense of self. My mom has told me before that animals can serve as a mirror for ourselves, and that pets sometimes have certain lessons they're meant to teach us. But even if that's not true, and there ends up to be no grand scheme of life, it just feels right to me to frame the story of adopting Kosen in this purposeful way. 2 years since adopting her, I feel deeply that we were both meant to be in each other's lives and help each other through difficult changes. I have a lot more to learn about myself through her, and it makes me excited for the years to come.
really love you. I'll be waiting for you, 'cause I really